Hi, I'm here today to talk to you about Marie de France's Yonec, and today specifically I'd like to talk about applying Aristotle's Poetics to Yonec. The first place I like to start when I'm looking at a text is I like to look at reversal of the situation. Now, you'll remember what Aristotle said about reversal of the situation. He said it is a change by which conditions in the play are transformed into their opposite, keeping always to the rule of probability or necessity. So the first thing I look at in a text is I look at what are the opening conditions and what are the conditions at the end of the story. Well, at the beginning of the story, we find a young girl, very unhappy. She's locked away in a tower and she's lonely. At the end of the story, she's dead. That's part of the denouement. We do know, though, at the end of the story, prior to her death, that she did find some measure of happiness. She had secured love, and she does have a son to live on and to carry the union between her and the Hawk Knight. So do we have reversal of the situation? Yes, I believe we do. The next thing we need to look at is we need to look at complication. Aristotle said that complication is all that extends from the beginning of the action to a part which marks the turning point to good or bad fortune. And in Yonec, I believe that our complication begins on page 1343. It's where she's locked away, she's lonely, and she says, "I should never have been born. My fate is very harsh. I'm imprisoned in this tower and I'll never leave it unless I die." Here we see the complication. She is imprisoned in a tower. She cannot leave. The only way she sees out of the tower is death. That's the complication. That's what gets the story moving. How is she going to escape this tower? How is she going to overcome her loneliness? Then we look at the unraveling. Aristotle says that which extends from the beginning of change to the end. That's unraveling. And the unraveling is in the form of a prayer. This is the beginning of change. At the bottom of page 1343, she says, "I've often heard that one could once find adventures in this land that brought relief to the unhappy. Knights might find young girls, and to their desire, noble and lovely. Ladies find lovers, so handsome, courtly, brave, and valiant. They could not be blamed, and no one else would see them. If that might be or ever was, if that has ever happened to anyone, God, who has power over everything, grant my wish on this." So here we start to see the unraveling. We see very soon thereafter, a couple lines after actually, it's the shadow of a great bird who lands in her window and becomes her Hawk Knight. So we have unraveling. Recognition. Aristotle says recognition is change from ignorance to knowledge, producing love or hate between the persons destined by the poet for good or bad fortune. Does she experience recognition? We could really look at this. What kind of knowledge does she gain? I think through this text, because she was so lonely at the start and she thought true love can't be possible anymore, I think with the Birdman Knight, this Hawk Knight, that him coming to her and showing her that love is indeed possible, that she doesn't need to be lonely, I believe that is recognition on her part. So she does grow. The next thing we have to look at is catharsis. Catharsis is that purification or cleansing. Aristotle said two things would bring about catharsis: pity or fear. Pity, Aristotle says, is aroused by unmerited misfortune. And if we look at this girl imprisoned in a tower, is her misfortune unmerited? Did she do anything to be locked away in the tower? No, she didn't. So we do have pity there. And then fear. Fear is aroused by the misfortune of a man like ourselves. I don't know in our day, us reading it, do we fear being locked in a tower? Maybe not. However, though, we all feel at some point or another sometimes locked in by circumstances. So her circumstances had her locked into a physical tower, but sometimes we can be locked into our own situations, and there seems to be no way out. So on that level, I think we can feel some element of fear. We can feel that necessity for escape. So finally, what we look at is we look at the plot type, simple or complex. If you remember, a complex plot contains both reversal of the situation and recognition, and this story contains both. Please remember, a simple plot contains neither reversal of the situation nor does it contain recognition. So we do indeed have a complex plot with this short story by Marie de France.